revisa ese cable ahí, ve si atrás tiene la cápsula, vale los botones atrás. Atrás vale los botones. Mueve el cable un momentico aquel. El cable, el Canon. ¿Sí? El de red. Quítalo para ver. Pégalo otra vez. Pégalo.
Uy, Dios, me ha gustado.
Sí. Cámbiame ese cable. El cable de red, cámbialo. Pues tengo un ruido ahí.
Cuyo ya se escuchan los tambores, el tamunangue otra vez. Dale cruzado, crúzalo, pisa el 100 pies, linda la rosa, rózalo, pa' ver quién es. Dale cruzado, crúzalo, pisa el 100 pies, linda la rosa, rózalo, a ver quién es. Viva Tocuyo, tus muchachas y tu música borracha, de caña clara y tambor. Canta una salve a San Antonio, que esa negra es el demonio, con crineja y camisón. Canta una salve a San Antonio, que esa negra es el demonio, con crineja y camisón. Papagayo, gallo, cantor, pajarito, pájaro y flor, que se eleva al cielo y canta, cardenal y cundia amor. Papagayo, gallo, cantor, pajarito, pájaro y flor, que no muera la esperanza, ni el combate ni el amor. Sabe sabrosa la fruta, de cagada en su dulzor. Hay bandera, quien pudiera llenarte de más sabor. De la tierra el terremoto y del viento el huracán. La arepa de maíz jojoto es de los dioses el pan. Baila brincando, bríncalo, al cascabel, picaíta, pica, pícalo, con ají jirel. Baila brincando, al cascabel, picaíta, pica, pícalo, con ají jirel. Baila brincando, bríncalo, al cascabel, picaíta, pica, pícalo, con ají jirel.
Saludamos acá a los compañeros Blanca Ecaut, presidenta del Instituto Simón Bolívar, dirigente de la Revolución Bolivariana, al compañero que es parte de esa generación de oro, joven compañero con la responsabilidad de la Internacional Antifascista y de la Secretaría Ejecutiva del ALBA-TCP, de Relaciones Internacionales del Partido Socialista Unido de Venezuela, Rander Peña. Otro joven militante del movimiento Sin Tierra y con la importante responsabilidad de la Secretaría de ALBA Movimiento, Giovanni Del Prete.
Secretariat of ALBA Movement, Giovanni Del Prete. So here gathered today here to pay tribute to the memories of Fidel Chavez and Commander Chavez, who were their leadership identified very timely that it was necessary to have a revolutionary movement. ALBA-TCP. So today we will listen first of all our beloved comrade Blanca Eckhout. She is going to start today's meeting, which is a very important moment for all of us. Blanca, you have the floor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades, dear friends. It is indeed a joy to be with you today in this space. Over the last days, which have been very important, we had the forum on a humane humanity for the balance of the universe to pay tribute or to commemorate the 242 years of Bolivar's birth, and also in order to make concrete proposals for the unity of the peoples according to the Bolivarian vision. But besides this forum that was summoned by President Nicolas Maduro in a very complex world scenario where we can see the advances of the fascism, and in a moment where we can see also the rise of the pluricentric new international order where our peoples have shown their resistance in the face of the barbarism that we can see in Palestine. We see a people that has not yielded, that has not surrendered, and that is waging the battle for humanity and dignity. So it is a very complex moment, and we need to build a path, all of us together. We are really thrilled to take part in this event with ALBA, because ALBA has demonstrated that it is the Bolivarian alternative. While other projects have had difficulties in moving forward, or in the face of the pressure of the enemy, which makes it difficult for other movements to advance, ALBA-TCP continues struggling for the Bolivarian and the Latin American dream, which was alternative, also proposed by Chavez and Fidel. You are taking part in that construction. But today we need to multiply our efforts, and we need to continue moving forward to defeat the brutal, savage imperialism, the capitalistic model that is not feasible, that does not represent a possibility for life, but it only epitomizes death, hatred, and warfare. So we are really appreciative to be with all the team of ALBA movements and directorate of ALBA movements. Everything that you've done has been really outstanding. You have continued in the fight, and you are continuing standing in solidarity. And today also we would like to commemorate the commitment made by Bolivar and San Martin. And we have the people of Bolivia that continues standing in solidarity, as well as Argentina. We know that Argentina is going to prevail, and they are going to overcome that fascist model that has been imposed on Argentina. And we believe that now the time for ALBA has come. The very dark night that the fascism and imperialism want to impose on the world needs to be defeated by the solidarity, by cooperation, by life. And for all of us, it is very important also to be aware of the fact that Randall is going to take up this responsibility. He has occupied the post of the international presidency of PSUV, and he is also our vice minister, foreign minister for Latin America and the Caribbean. And now he also has the responsibility given to him by President Nicolas Maduro to unite all these efforts so that we can continue working with even more strength, more force in a continental effort in order to build humanity and to lay the foundations for our movements. As head of the Simon Bolivar Institute for Peace and Solidarity, I can tell you that we have been working very closely with the work that you've been carrying out. And I would like to ratify our commitment, the commitment of our institute, to continue at the service of the peace, the diplomacy of the people. So you can count on us. We'll do our best to support you. And for both of us, Randall and for myself, what's important right now is to listen to you. And Giovanni, who has a lot of experience, is also going to address you. We want to listen to you, to learn further, to be at your service, and to ensure that we will become a tool to continue fighting against fascism, imperialism, and in order to build peace. And after listening to you, we will also like to address the situation. We will talk about the COP30 in Brazil. We need to be united. We need to make our voice heard so that we can stop the capitalist salvage within this context. And in Latin America and in Venezuela, we have also to take up the task of the celebration of the 200 years of the Amphicyonic Congress. After Bolivar and the Ayacucho battle expelled the Spaniard army, he understood that the only thing that could make our freedom irrevocable was unity, and he started a huge effort to guarantee that freedom. He wrote letters, he organized preparatory meetings, but we could see back then how the Yankee Empire was there with Baez, with Santander, with Torrijos, and unfortunately they undermined that letter, that Congress, that Amphicyonic Congress that dreamt of the emergence of free nations. So, brothers and sisters, we need to take up the responsibility of making this Amphicyonic Congress a reality so that it can address all of our dreams, independence, freedom, and socialism, and with all that to achieve peace for our continent. So we're going to do this together. And we are, as you know, today commemorating and paying tribute to that commitment what was made by Martí and Bolivar. We are going to commemorate as well the 20th anniversary of the defeat of the FTAA. Down FTAA. And we need to understand that defeat gave us a beautiful opportunity, a very timely moment. Because when we stopped FTAA back then, it was crucial for the multipolar to take a more relevance. And the multipolar world has a lot to do with the resistance of our peoples, because we were resisting empire and their attempts to control the whole continent by land, by sea, and we opposed that. They wanted to control the trade and world's communications. It was about controlling the world, and then our peoples understood to stop that. Our presidents, who were very courageous, stopped that, and we were able to defeat FDAA. And they will never. It will never be. Will come back. In spite of all what Trump wants to do, they will not impose that on our continent. And this is the reason why I'm telling you all the history, because the last 20 years of our history have been crucial. It allowed us to continue moving forward, to continue our relationship with China, with Russia, and to start working on the Bolivarian alternative for our continent. So we have many tasks that we need to take up. The defense of Haiti, for instance, the condemnation of the blockade, and everything that you've done in order to make more concrete the solidarity on our lives. So all of us from the Simon Bolivar Institute and ALBA-TCP, we told you that you can count on our help, on our strength, and our support, so that we can ensure the attainment of all of our objectives for the future and for our humanity. Thank you very much for accompanying us. Thank you very much also for your presence during the forthcoming elections. Not only in the elections that we are going to hold of mayors and governors, but also the elections of the communes. We are, as you know, building a new project based on participatory democracy, which aims at demolizing the bourgeois state and also wants to build the communal state. So the Simon Bolivar Institute has undertaken a new task by orders of that President Maduro to aim at the whole transformation of the state throughout the 70s. And this compels us to address the debate on the climate change, on war, so that it is not only the discussion of an elite, but the discussion of each communal council, each committee, all across the country. We are all the internationalism. So the construction of a new build has to be done throughout also our communities, our communals. So this is the reason why we are organizing ourselves all across the country in popular organization. And this is the task that we have undertaken here in Venezuela and that we need to undertake all around the world. We need to build international awareness, internationalist awareness everywhere in our daily lives, because only peoples can save the people. So this is ALBA's task. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. Thank you for standing in solidarity, for continuing moving forward, for being an example of solidarity, for being an example of revolutionary awareness and love for our humanity that says enough is enough. Thank you very much. Thank you, dear colleague Blanca Count, for your speech. Thank you. And yes, we know that we can count on you. You have always shown a lot of passion, a lot of strength, and a lot of clarity in your thinking. Thank you very much for telling us about the concrete agenda for action. As you know, in Venezuela, we have been working in communes, and we have now a concrete agenda for actions that has also had a repercussion on ALBA. And we are going to present to you what are the various axes of struggle, what we would work in the meeting of intercontinental coordination from the 22nd to the 24th in the Robinson School. They have been working towards the Continental Assembly that is going to be held in May 2026 in Cuba, our 4th Continental Assembly. And I will now give the floor to Laura Capote of Marcha Patriótica from Colombia, the Secretariat of ALBA Movement, Guillermo Albertoni of Patria Grande of Argentina, also from the Secretariat. You have the floor. Good morning, comrades and dear colleagues. Blanca, Randel, well, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to address it today. The idea is to briefly give you an overview of who we are in our movements and what we're doing in our movement. We can see here at least 22 delegates of various countries. We are working constantly in the field. We are working also in the political schools. We are struggling for feminism, from culture, for culture. We are building socialism from the grassroots. We are the representatives of the people who believe in ALBA. That project that someone to pretend that it is not a current project. Well, it is not the case. This is a project that is pretty much relevant, and we are preparing for the assembly. And I would like to tell you as well that our team is working as it has always been working historically. And not only our continent, there is, as you know, the tradition from the heroes of our continent to talk about integration. But of course, emancipation and unity is not only for our continent, it is for the world. So this is the reason why we work with international assemblies of the peoples, and we have here members of Asia, Africa, Oceania. They are the hope of our humanity, the youngsters of all around the world. So we are working united. We are working also from our brothers from the Arab region in a global articulated effort. So we have here Latin Americans, Caribbeans, and also members of the parties of the Global South. For all of us, it is of the essence to remember that if there is something that unites us in our fraternity, is the struggle for a decent humanity, a bright future for our peoples, what we call the Afro-Indo-American socialism in our movement. This is the name that we have coined, which epitomizes the need to move forward to the attainment of our project. And I don't need to remind you that we are the result of the struggles of our continent. We have been fighting for more than 500 years with the indigenous populations, as you know, and many have given their lives throughout the history of the revolutionary movement so that we can have the present that we have. We are the daughters and sons of the struggle against neoliberalism in the 60s. We are the sons and daughters of all the movement in 2001 when Chavez went to Argentina to stop FTAA, and when he went to Cuba and said to Fidel, look, they are planning to do this. Well, they thought about what we are seeing today, what unites us today, using as a beacon Simon Bolivar for the dignity for our peoples.
And after that process, I work with the commander of the Cuban Revolution, Commander Castro, when the task of articulating in that ALBA, which today is ALBA-TCP, this articulation meant the priority of the dialogue with the social movements, dialogue with those who wake up every day, no matter if it's raining or shine or the sun shines, to construct or to build a better world with the peoples. And that is a dialogue that Commander Chavez ordered us to do. And there was a meeting of leaders of the continent, and many of you were probably part of it, and you were able to talk with Commander Chavez, and he said the task is to build it articulation of the peoples, the ALBA for the peoples. And that went on with people who were touring the whole continent, Manu and others who were walking all around the continent to get to know country by country who were the ones who were there in defense of life and against capitalism. And that is how in 2013 we had our foundational assembly with the Sin Tierra movement of Brazil, and from then on it's been a path of construction and articulation, because we understand that the path or the task is not only to get to see each other. At this point in time in mankind, where cruelty is almost the logic with which we will function, this type of meeting where we see each other, where we can smile at each other, as the partners from Bolivia told us, to construct this does not mean to say, oh, we're such a revolutionary group. No, we need to construct concrete actions and construct solidarity, popular economy, to take our principles to concrete action, because only material action transforms the reality, and we have been able to understand that. What we have said, and you will listen to this, is what we are doing with respect to all of these topics in ALBA Movimientos, and what we can do together to strengthen this revolutionary process. The idea is for Manu to now talk about our general political discussion on the regional issues for ALBA Movimientos, what we talked about in the meeting that Ana mentioned happened in the previous days in the Robinsonian School. And before finishing, Rander, we would like to reiterate not only the solidarity of ALBA movements with the ALBA project, and to find in us, in each one of our territories, a revolutionary who is always standing firm, but our full support to the Bolivarian Revolution, which is one of our horizons. That you can rest assured that you will always have soldiers of this homeland, because it is our homeland too, and friends of the mankind that we must defend from friendship, from love. And we need to defend the fact that the future we want is possible, and for us it's a socialist future. Thank you very much. Well, it's a pleasure, Blanca, Rander, to be here again, talking to you and planning the work, the joint work that we're going to be doing. As Blanca said, we have been in a meeting with 22 countries, over 50 delegates from many countries and delegations, popular delegations, from popular organizations, political organizations, youth organizations, feminist organizations. And the balance that we do of this meeting is that we have been able to consolidate a process of unity at a time that it's very complex, because the popular movements are in a critical stage in our continent. This is a common issue, and it's the crisis of the capitalist system. For us, it's not a minor issue. Over 200 popular movements should understand the moment that we are going through in terms of political and social issues in our continent. And we understand that the crisis of the capitalist system and its nature, that it's controlled today by the financial capital, it's not just another one of the historical crises that capitalism has had, but it shows more clearly the risk of the sustainability of life on planet Earth. And in political terms, this is something that was debated many times during the meeting. We agreed that we are at a time of deep crisis of the liberal economy, liberal bourgeoisie economy in each one of our countries. And that is why we see with lots of enthusiasm, and we want to learn about what is happening here in the revolutionary Venezuela. And this is a place where the power of imperialism is trying to take control of our countries through criminalization, through lawfare, even through war. So that is why this is also a political agreement in our process of our commitment for the defense, not only of the process here in Venezuela, but also in Cuba, in Nicaragua, and also of the Palestinian people, understanding it as the main aspect today of those peoples facing imperialism. In this meeting, we have been able to move forward with the programmatic organization of our process of articulation, with the construction of strategic guidelines of work in different axes. The first axis is the strengthening of unity, and for us, this dialogue with ALBA-TCP and the governments of ALBA is fundamental, and it's a priority that we need to which we are putting all our efforts for joint work. And the other aspect is the consolidation of the anti-fascist international that Venezuela and you, Rander, specifically have been working on and putting your efforts on to counteract this situation that we're seeing around the world, we're experiencing. The second axis is internationalism, the battle of ideas, and we believe that today the ideological battle is at the center of the clash of classes, or the battle of classes. And we must work hard on the ideological battle in each one of our peoples, the defense of nature, the construction of the people's power, and the strengthening both of the the people's economy and people's feminism, popular feminism. We reaffirm, as Lara said, our defense of the construction of a socialist horizon. We believe that faced with crisis of the capitalist system, we must construct an alternative, and this alternative for our social movements or popular movements is socialism. And we are finally walking towards our fourth Continental Assembly, and some other speakers will be telling us how this is being worked on, and the popular movements or people's movements of the continent need to be present in Cuba. We must construct a delegation of around 400 delegates to reaffirm our solidarity commitment with the beloved people of Cuba and the lovely Cuban Revolution, which it continues to be today a beacon or a flame of hope for the peoples of mankind. So we are very enthusiastic, and we believe that there's lots of work ahead of us. And as Blanca said, the process, despite the context, has been, we have been consolidating it for the historical struggle that we need to hold or have in each one of our territories. Thank you. Thank you, Manu. Manuel Bertoldi. we correct because each mission creates a new organization, and he's from the organization Our America from Argentina. Laura has a small gift that she wants to give to Blanca and Rander. Go ahead, Blanca. Go ahead, Laura. Or Rander, Blanca, in that flag, you carry our struggles. In that banner, you carry our commitment with the Bolivar Revolution, with the construction of socialism. Wherever you see the banner of ALBA, you will see our hearts and our movements. Long live ALBA. Well, and afterwards, to speak about the axis, there was a meeting in December last year with Joel Suarez, the priest, and he said that she is one of the pillars of ALBA, not just a mother, but the mother of all mothers. So we're going to listen to Maria del Carmen Barroso. And she now has the responsibility of the Cuban Institute of Friendship for the Peoples, which is the inspiration of, which was implied by the Simon Bolivar Institute of Friendship for the Peoples. Good morning. Good morning, my dear partners. I am not gonna be able to speak, but I was given the task of explaining, but the people who were talking before me, they already spoke about ALBA movements and what we have been doing. And I wanted to, first of all, thank the Bolivarian government and the Venezuelan institutions, as well as the Venezuelan people, because they have supported us in the construction of our ALBA movements. There hasn't been a single time that we haven't asked for support that we haven't had it. And here we have been able to build our fourth assembly. This is something that needs to be said, or needed to be said. So I think we also needed to mention that ALBA-TCP and ALBA movements have built already a path. We have built brigades and many activities that we should say that ALBA-TCP and ALBA Movimientos or ALBA movements are going through the same path. At the end of last year, in 2024, we met here, and you saw how many things we constructed. What is the path towards our fourth assembly of ALBA Movimientos or ALBA movements? It will be held in Cuba from the 6th to the 9th of May 2026, and that will be the 100th anniversary of Fidel's birth date. And this assembly will have the spirit of Fidel and his legacy, because we are going to be discussing there with 400 delegates that will be participating in our assembly, and we will have people invited from other continents, because we need to continue constructing that unity in diversity, which is what ALBA Movimientos has always stand for. ALBA Movimientos or ALBA movements has a strength today because we have youth, we have students, we have women, we have religious institutions, so we have such diversity, and that is what makes us strong. And the path towards that assembly starts in September, October, November, when the national chapters are going to be holding their national assemblies, and there will be specific topics that will be discussed in the countries. We will be discussing the document of ALBA Movimientos, and we will see how to strengthen ourselves from the grassroots to strengthen the whole ALBA movement, and from there we will have an action plan. It's not a working plan anymore, it's a mobilization plan on how we are going to face this model that already exists. So we will be holding the National Assemblies, as I said, in the last months of the previous year, and it will be widened with other organizations to include more diversity, and there are other countries at which we are still constructing. And after these national assemblies, we will be able to have the regional assemblies per sub-regions, which will be online, because the conditions does not allow for in-presence assemblies, but there will be discussing the national topics that were discussed. And then in May, we will have the assembly in Cuba, which, by the way, we have cleverly put on that date because there are many delegates that will be part of the calling that was made by the Union of Cuban Workers, and they will be there by the 1st of May, and then they attend to our meeting or our assembly. We wanted to say that the Cubans, we have several people from the Cuban chapter here, and we are already organizing the assembly, even under the hardest conditions that the Yankees believe we're not going to be able to have our meeting or hold our meeting. So then when we celebrate the 99th anniversary of Fidel's birthday, we will be sending the calling for our assembly or the invitation for our assembly. There's a documentary that we're working on, a group of actions that each country is organizing to be able to do all of this work. And from then on starts the whole path of going to Havana and how our Fidel spirit is going to be with us. I wanted to tell Rander and Blanca that you are, of course, totally invited to our assembly, and you need to commit yourselves to be part of the assembly or to assist to our assembly, because Rander is the secretary of ALBA-TCP, and we need to join in diversity. We are very happy in Cuba with the work that has been done between ALBA-TCP and ALBA movements, and we wanted to thank you for that. And on behalf of the Cuban chapter, we want to give you something, part of our symbols. Look, can you see that today is July 26th. It's a celebration in Cuba. This is the spirit of Fidel joining us. So we hope that you will be able to see you at Havana. We'll wait for you there. Fidel, what does Fidel have that imperialists cannot defeat him? Long live. Thank you, Maria del Carmen. And we are now going to give the floor for the information access to a combatant of all struggle fronts. And when I say this, I truly mean it. Carlos Barrientos, Comrade Carlos Barrientos from the Peasant Unity Committee. Good morning, comrades. Good morning, Rander. Good morning, Blanca. It's a pleasure to see you again. One of the last times that I was here with Blanca, or that I met Blanca, is that I love to talk to her because she speaks with such passion, and she always talks about Bolivar and Commander Chavez. And speaking of that, and what they mean to us, what those giants of history mean to us, as Manuel said, one of the axes that we have is the axis of the battle of ideas. And within this axis of the battle of ideas, one of the components is communication, and the other is political training. And in that sense, I wanted to tell you and to share with you that there has been a very interesting process related to political training, because we went from having a variety of 23 schools, training schools, that today offer courses in the different countries, to build a continental training system of ALBA movimientos. What do we mean by this? What does it mean to build a continental training system? This means that we have had exchanges that have led us to have a joint conception of training. This has brought us to use the pedagogical traditions or teaching traditions in the continent, and we have developed a methodology to foster political training. And within that, we have a series of general courses and specific courses specifically aimed at waging the battle of the ideas in this fundamental issue, which is political training. Political education. This is not an isolated effort. It's articulated with the Assembly of the Peoples, where we have the training collective with the Florestan Fernandez School in Brazil, the Marategui in Argentina, the Lucruma and Amilcar Cabral schools in Africa, the Tunisia schools and Nepal school, and is in that process that we have been able to build a revolutionary vision, anti-imperialist vision, and socialist vision. A vision to struggle towards the world that we want. Now, in this process of formation, this brings a series of challenges, and within these challenges, we have development of the proposal for training, and we have several elements contemplated there. One of them is a seminar on Fidel. Because we have the ideas of Commander Fidel, and those ideas are enough not only for a course, but for a PhD, a doctorate for political training, with all the ideas that he gave us or presented for the world. And the other thing that we have is the ability to be able to let people know what ALBA is, the historical process, the contents, and what is related to the construction of it. So we are saying that it's not only ALBA-TCP, and that's when we would have, which are going to be the contents and how we're going to foster this training process on ALBA. Because we remembered a few minutes ago a meeting that was held in 2010, April 2010, a meeting with Commander Chavez, and in that meeting we had the presence of several dozens of leaders of people's organizations, grassroots organizations. Someone told me it was like 100 organizations. She said 50, and it was in that meeting where we agreed to construct this joint process between what was on one hand ALBA-TCP and on the other hand ALBA movements. So obviously we're going to have to be working this together, this issue of the ALBA contents. So we have also the challenge, and this is one of the things that we were seeing, is that we have a series of challenges in this very important time for mankind, where we need political strength and ideological strength. And we are nurtured by the experience and the legacy of Fidel, and that is why we also must use the experience and legacy of Commander Chavez and what is happening here in Venezuela, which is also very rich, very important, and that nurtures us too. So that's what I wanted to say briefly. These are the dreams that we have, and we are sure that we agree on this because both processes were born together. They have the same creating fathers, or the same parents. Thank you. we're going to call someone who has been working for Solidarity. He is part of the Apolonio de Carvalho Brigade here in Venezuela in very hard years and not so hard years too. It's Mesilene Corete from the Sin Tierra movement of Brazil to talk about solidarity. Good morning, comrades. Good morning, Blanca. Quickly, because we still have a group that needs to talk and other things that need to be discussed. And we also want to listen to Randa, right? I hope he's able to talk. So I had the task very quickly to bring what for ALBA has been the issue of solidarity. And we have assumed in our project of construction the solidarity as an important pillar, understanding solidarity as a principle of ALBA. And solidarity, not just as a declaration, but as a concrete practice, or a real practice. And this is understanding this is the reality of our peoples when we're talking about unity, integration, accompaniment, defense, in anti-imperialist spirit, and solidarity as this principle that unites us and that somehow also means our internationalism. And this is what we have been systematizing as our ideas. This has been a pillar that we have been practicing on for a long time from our territory, and the MCT has some of this. They have had brigades for visits, for exchange, and this has been a concrete practice, quotidian practice, and we are internalizing internationalism in our organizations. And this is a huge challenge because many of us understand internationalism as a principle, as a practice, but it's not a true reality of our organization. We also have the challenge of internalizing internationalism in our organizations. It is a task that we have as ALBA movements, and solidarity is an important issue. We together have built 4 processes that unify our actions of solidarity. First of all, which we saw last week in the delegation of the visit of the delegation of the Haiti. And Haiti is a pillar of the solidarity because we have done accompaniment for Haiti. And about this, we have 2 important tasks to support ALBA-TCP and the Simon Bolivar Institute to construct a continental campaign to break the barriers of isolation that IT has today. This is an unknown issue, and when we learned about this, we learned that we always hear that there's no one there, that there's complete chaos there, and that's not like that. There are some people there who are trying to work on their country. So we know that the offensive of imperialism is hard against them, and the offensive against Haiti means an offensive against the whole country, against the whole continent. And we know the interest of imperialism in Haiti and the continent. So we need to break those barriers against Haiti. We need to talk about Haiti's history, and we need to break these barriers. Because, for example, we're not publishing books about Haiti. Why not? And the other thing is that we need to take our solidarity from the governments, from the movements, strengthening the Dessalines Brigade, which is there and that needs the support of international militants to help the Haitian organization construct health. And we would like to thank the role of the Cuban doctors who are there But we need to strengthen with the doctors that we have in our countries who were trained in Cuba, and we have many of those around the continent, and we must call them to go help Haiti. And we must train Haitians in brigades, health brigades. There's also the issue of health, of education and agriculture. What are the Haitian people asking for? They say we don't have a state or government in conditions. So in Latin America, the governments can support with supplies for us to develop agriculture, and we need to create a link with ALBA-TCP to help Haiti. Haiti is our spearhead currently, our spearhead for solidarity. And of course we have Palestine as a priority, and we have developed many different tasks about Palestine to denounce the genocide that is happening there. And Venezuela, we would like to reiterate the fact that we thank Venezuela for constructing this. If it wasn't for Venezuela, we wouldn't have had the conditions to have the continental meeting, the political coordination meeting, either a plenary with 150 people of ALBA here. So this is a show of solidarity with Venezuela, but we also have a task, Rander and Blanca, and it's how to break these barriers around Venezuela, because we need our societies to also know what is happening in Venezuela. Venezuela has things that no one knows about. They are working on a new constituent assembly probably, and there's something that we don't know in our countries, and this is part of the task that we need to carry out, to take this information to our countries. Like for example, in the case of Cuba, we're going to have the assembly, but we need to denounce what American imperialism is doing with Cuba. And another concrete action, which are the solidarity brigades, where we can include our youngsters. Why? Well, because the youth are they're the ones who have the conditions to help us in the countries. They can strengthen the propaganda. They are the grassroots. They can strengthen the grassroots, and we believe that the exchange between the different youths of the different countries is very important. In that sense, I have an idea that I think already presented to Blanca, that in October, taking advantage of the spirit of Che Guevara, we can work with the Che Guevara Brigade and bring a brigade of 100 people, of youngsters from Venezuela, to really understand this process and to go back to their countries with more spirit and more defense of what is going on here. That was it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Helene. Now, for a different important axis, we are going to call Sayonara Tamayo from the Martin Luther King Center of Cuba for the communication axis, and then we will have a report on the press conference that we're going to have. But first, Sayonara Tamayo has the floor. Thank you, Ana. Thank you, Blanca. Thank you, Rander, for the possibility to be here. Coming from Cuba, I could not start in a different way than honoring our martyrs of July 26. In Cuba, we say that the attack to the Moncada and Carlos Manuel de Céspedes military areas was the start of the Cuban Revolution. Without the Moncada, there wouldn't have been a revolution, and without it, there wouldn't have been ALBA. There wouldn't have been a Cuban Revolution. It's always the 26th. Yes, it is. For us, it's always the 26th. So I have the task to share a bit of what has been the communication axis work in the history of ALBA movements, which from its very beginning identified in communication a struggle front that is key. in which we have been weaving in the articulation, training, and we continue in that struggle within a very adverse context, a very hard context. But we still have a large group of people who are working on that task and struggling day to day. That thing that Fidel mentioned in the concept of revolution as the dominant forces. From communication, we challenge those powerful dominating forces of imperialism and hegemonic media. So this is to balance a bit the result of this process of historical construction that we have had in ALBA movements. And we need to mention that we have a collective of popular communication or people's communication with over 40 media outlets from all different countries that are part of ALBA movements. And this construction process is a process of accumulation, is a process that I believe it's fair to recognize the work that our operational secretariat of ALBA, and I would like for the people of the secretariat to stand up so that we can recognize their work. Here we have Laura, Alexander, Andrea, Florencia, Roque, Giovanni. The operative secretariat, which is very important to sustain this organization process. And Flor in the secretariat has that role of articulating the work of the communication work. And I also want to mention that in the past days, over 20 partners from different media outlets, alternative media outlets, have been working on this, and they are here. I would like for them to also stand up so that we can recognize their faces, their work, and the battle that they are waging in the field of communication, which is part of the war of ideas, or the battle of ideas.
And they are always sharing in their content our voices, experiences, struggles. And in our territories, the territory of communication, we are also defying power in our daily work. And they're here working with us, and they're going to continue working, also with the support of an important group of outlets that have supported us in this process, such as Telesur, such as Resumen Latinoamericano. We have here Carlos Aznar, who is a symbol of a popular communication, and also an example to follow. And there are other comrades who have also accompanied us in this task. In the previous discussions with ALBA-TCP, we also addressed this access, which is very important, which has to do with the work plan that the ALBA movement has been working on, and which it has deployed, focusing on three main aspects. The first one has to do with the production of content, because it is there where we reflect our narratives, our approaches. A second axis has to do with the communicators' training, and also political training of all of those comrades who are accompanying us from different spaces, different from the popular outlets. And also integration, this is another axis, communicational integration. So we have various structures, we have interviews, we have meetings, we participate in trainings, and this is what we want to continue doing and strengthening alongside preparation and training. And we also had a discussion with ALBA-TCP last year. We submitted a document with various parts or stages. The first stage, which is the initial stage that we decided to work on to start our communicational work in the battle of ideas, which is so important. And a second phase, what we called the sparkle. The sparkle, which has to do with initiating new sparks, right? In order to rekindle all those outlets that we would like them to accompany us in our work. So now we hope that with the support that we will have from various organizations, we will create the necessary conditions to have training spaces with the participation of our brothers and sisters that will be joining us in this training, which is of the essence in order to wage our communicational battle. And all this work access are included in the communicational agenda and in the content agenda that we are continuously working with. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sadio, for reminding us that for us it is always the 26th, right? So now let's go to Marisela Ramirez from El Salvador. She's going to tell us about the youngsters' struggles. Good afternoon to you all. I apologize for my voice. I'd like to greet Rander, Blanca, all of you. Thank you very much for being here with us today. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to hold the mic. Well, I would like to share with you what we've been doing in our young chapters, and I'm going to be brief because I know that our report has to be read. We have been analyzing the importance of consolidating strategic spaces where the young can meet and create more agendas in order to coordinate our efforts throughout the Latin American region. In that connection, in April last year, in our continental regional meeting, we met in La Guaira, and we decided to retake the necessary spaces for us to work together to foster the intergenerational relations within ALBA. The idea is to join more forces in the revolutionary tasks coming from the youth, because we know that it is in the youth where we are going to find the necessary strength to reinvigorate our process. So we have defined various axes, solidarity being the first one, solidarity with all the countries that we know about, with whom we have been debating, Haiti, Cuba, Venezuela, and Palestine. And we also decided to put in place an agenda that is going to allow us to work in 3 different phases. First phase or stage, with our work with the young, consolidation of the space. What does this mean? It means that, first of all, we need to conduct a diagnosis of our young chapters, of all the organizations that are in ALBA, to know what they're doing. We knew already what they were doing, but we decided also to work not only with those organizations who reivindicate our rights as young, but to enlarge our scope and to identify within our organizations in ALBA other chapters, other networks that could also contribute into the debate, the analysis, and the recognizing that our young communities are instrumental in order to strengthen our movement. And in this sense, we have been in process working with our young chapters, and I would like to ask our dynamizing team to stand up, because thanks to them we have been able to consolidate the work we have been doing with the young chapters. We have Tania from Paraguay, Alex from Argentina, Alanis, please stand up, from Brazil. There you have her. And also in El Salvador, we are continuing our work with this very important axis of ALBA work. And we have also started exchanging within spaces about the regional situation. Thanks to this team, we have enlarged our debate. And in April, in our continental meeting of ALBA, when we met to talk about the young, we also launched another space for the young chapters within the framework of international assemblies of the peoples. We worked by region. Thanks to this work, we were able, in the first stage of our endeavors, to identify what we need to address as the young chapters and what we want to continue working with and move forward. The second phase is about relaunching the struggle spaces for young in Latin America. Here, as Messi said, the idea is to retake the brigades in solidarity with Cuba, Venezuela, and thanks to the solidarity and the support given by the people of Venezuela, we have been able to work with the revolutionary young chapters. We aim to put in place a brigade on September the 9th of more than 100 young. And so this is going to be one more space in order to advance raising awareness among our youngsters regarding the importance of our organization. We are also encouraging all our organizations to participate in this project. This is what we said yesterday when we met. All of our organizations met, and I think this is important because we're moving forward, right? We are consolidating not only among young people. We gathered yesterday more than 15 organizations with representation of 10 countries from Latin America. And I think that these kind of exchanges enable us to think about what we want to launch in the third stage, which has to do with consolidating exchanges and the work we do in our organizations. Yesterday, we talked about the need of having more spaces for our debates to know about our respective realities as young people. So in this joint collective process that we are building together, we want in October this year to hold our anti-imperialist week, which is going to coincide with the International Day of Revolutionary Youth, inspired by Che Guevara. So in this process, we would like to express our appreciation. Venezuela has always enabled us to meet together, to debate, and to agree on agendas for our struggle in our spaces as young populations in order to continue advancing our revolution. And before I conclude, I wanted to address a key element regarding forthcoming actions we are going to implement in October. October for us is a very special month because there was a man who marked history not only for Cuba but for Latin America. I'm talking about Fidel. And the speech he delivered in 1967 in the Revolution Square, he addressed the youth and he said very relevant words that are still relevant today that we need to retake today. He said to all the militancy the following: if we want to describe how our revolutionaries need to be, our combatants, women and men, we need to affirm that they need to be like Che Guevara. Thank you very much. Thank you, Maricela. Actually, yes, the participation of the Youth Brigade was decisive for in a very important moment, such as the struggle of the bridges. In 2019, the Che Guevara Brigade was there to accompany that effort. We have now Ana Priscila Alves from the Marcha Mundial de Mujeres, the World Women's March. We give them the floor. Good morning, dear comrades. I'm Priscilla from the Marcha Mundial de las Mujeres, the Women's World March. I would like to start by saying that yesterday we congratulated the Day of the Black Caribbean Woman. And from ALBA, we always say that we have a black feminist, communal feminism. Our feminisms are many natures. And this is a very important statement for all of us, for all of our comrades. And we are also working in my team, this myself, my friend from the Secretariat, Sora, and another comrade from the Tricontinental. So we are working constantly, combining theory and practice. Last year, we made a call to work in an articulated manner with movements of ALBA to stand in solidarity with our women in Palestine who are artists, who are warriors. For us, feminism is everywhere. It is present in all the aspects of life, and we are also working with trainings on feminism about the labor division of work, the advance of capitalism on our territories and bodies, the impact of imperialism on our bodies and minds, and how feminism is instrumental to build a alternative proposal. We have been working in various initiatives in order to strengthen our movement so that we can advance feminism in our region. And in our work, we are also interested in knowing what our common struggles in the region are. We see that the extreme right wing are using our main concepts, our own concepts, to attack us. So we need to be aware of this. Women need to get organized. We need to have a plural feminism that is good, that is strong and well articulated. We are also working on a synthesis so that we put in writing what popular feminism is and how we can strengthen our constructions. And also in the framework of our work with ALBA-TCP, we've seen that also the care industry is very important. So we need to move forward also with policies on care for ALBA-TCP. We addressed this last December, and we are strengthening this aspect because we need a different division of labor, because this will mean more time for women with more quality of life, so that they can join our struggle. We are many, we are diverse, we are young, we are everywhere, we are in the field, everywhere to build our popular feminism all over America. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anna. And now we are going to give the floor to some representatives of ALBA movements who are going to take stock of our national meeting held in October. And there we addressed our platform. Our Venezuelan chapter, we met there with 53 organizations of people's power all across the country, in the capital and the inner cities. We worked over 3 days, and we came up with a document on us to how we can get ALBA to the communes, to every single commune all across the territory. So this mapping that we have created is at the disposal of Blanca and Rander. We have their statistics as well. And ALBA movement is a platform to articulate our America. But the Venezuelan chapter, let me tell you, is one of the strongest chapters. For instance, today we have also workers movement. We have the residential workers movement as well. We have the international solidarity with Palestine platform. We have the communal unity platform. We have the Otro Beta movement. And we have also communal unity platform. We have the Francisco de Miranda Front. We have El Panal Commune. We have El Cumbe platform. We have Afro and Diverse Sex platform. We have Aviala platform, the Green Party. We have Todi Ordineta from the Bolivarian Confederation of Indigenous Peoples of Venezuela. We have Isabel Gomez from the Collective Calistenia Cultural, among others. And we have also very important cadres who are holding international responsibilities. Licia Altuve, Carmen Navas, who introduced the Afro struggle in our chapter. We have Evelyn as well with us. We have Mafi, we have Maria Fernando Barreto, holding important responsibilities, Carlos Julius, and many others who are with us today. Randall told us yesterday about the pillars that are unscattered pillars that are still standing. Thank you, thank you. He told us about those pillars that are there standing up, which are the basis of our civilization process. And he was telling us about something terrible. He said that on behalf of the responsibility to protect, before to the responsibility of freedom, and now the responsibility to protect, they are killing masses in Palestine, in Gaza, and what they're doing also in Haiti. So in order to address this very serious matter, the best qualified voice that always teaches us a great deal, I am going to give the floor to Indu Handeri from the Venezuelan chapter and from the International Platform of Solidarity with Palestine. She has the floor. Greetings, Blanca, Randall, and friend Yuri. Greetings to all of you. Long live Free Palestine. As Anna said, the international platform standing in solidarity with the Palestinian cause is working in our country, and as well as in other territories. By the way, we have Varicela here with us, and we have spokespersons in different spaces in this platform as a conglomerate of movements and organizations who have decided to gather in order to stand in solidarity with Palestine. First of all, I'd like to seize the opportunity, only 3 minutes that they've given me, to thank each one of you, because you are doing something for Palestine in your territories, I'm sure. And I'd like to thank the Bolivarian Revolution and government who have been there, who have been always accompanying the Palestinian people. And I'd like to make a call to all of you to continue strengthen your endeavors, because we know that we have many platforms, and actually now we are taking our platforms to each and every parish, because we understand that everywhere in our country we need to have a solidarity committee for Palestine that will not only mobilize people but will inform people on what is happening, because someone said that Palestine needs to be a transversal axis, and this is true. It is impossible to talk about solidarity with the peoples if we do not talk about Palestine, because it is in Palestine where we are seeing how all the class struggles are being waged, as well as how all human rights are being violated. So our call was to encourage spokespersons of ALBA to raise their voices for the platform in solidarity with Palestine, so that we can unleash a whole chain of work, because all the wonderful initiatives, sometimes we cannot tap into them. We cannot seize the opportunity that they provide because there is no articulation among them. So we need to articulate them. And I can understand that our people's situations in Latin America demands much from us in terms of responsibilities and actions, but I believe that Palestine and our Latin American cause are intertwined. They are one and only right now. It is important, as one of our comrades said on the communicational committee that are being set up, I think that even if there is a proposal for an international communication network, I believe that need to strengthen or coordinate a new network for popular communication for the struggles of the people. That communication is not going to be only based on exchange of information throughout different mechanisms, but an exchange of affection as well, because being close to one another make us understand that we can strengthen our struggle for an effective and affective communication, as we like to say. So we are proposing, Randall, we are proposing one encounter, one meeting, because we know that there have been many meetings to stand in solidarity with Palestine, but I think that in November, at the end of October, the 1st of November, we can hold a world meeting for Palestine's independence, to talk not only about solidarity from our love and affection, right, so that there is humanitarian aid in the border with Egypt, which, by the way, has not been very friendly with Palestine. On the contrary, they have facilitated Israelis' actions and they have prolonged the suffering of the Palestinian people, who are being killed, starved to death. So this will be a meeting to address this topic, right? And to talk boldly about what is happening in Palestine. And there is a proposal that's been made from our platform, which is the following. We would like to, to go back to this. Maybe we are, um, always saying the same thing, but we need that there is a law against fascism, and we need to include the definition of fascism and Zionism within that law. We have experts, Zionists working on this, and you allow this. We're not talking about plurality. This will be to facilitate the enemy's actions. So I think we need to insist on this. I think that ALBA movements should accompany us in this proposal, which is going to be submitted to the National Assembly here in Venezuela. And they are asking from us unity, but unity does not only mean you join in what I'm doing. No, I am joining also in what you are doing to stand in solidarity. So this is what we are asking for, to remain united. We would like to also thank the United Socialist Party of Venezuela because they have been accompanying us, but we think that we need to do more. We believe that we need to continue to subvert the order and continue our conspiracy, because we need to subvert. We like that. We need to continue in this conspiracy, because otherwise we will not be revolutionary. And actually, the first who talked about conspiracy was Chavez, opposing everything that was countering our revolution.
From the platform, we're doing a couple of things. We are starting a course, international course called Free Palestine. We have people who are helping us in Venezuela, in Mexico, and we want to have this course to be taught in universities, schools, but be taught online. So we gave ALBA Movimientos a forum that was done in CELAC that was called Palestine and the CIA Manipulation Through the Scriptures. 400 people were part of this forum, and we, in a very scientific way, with the gospel in our hands, with the scriptures in our hand, we could dismantle all of these lies that they have about the people chosen by God, that Palestine needs to be occupied, and that the quicker they eliminate the Palestinian people, the faster the Messiah is going to come. I have this shirt. This shirt is Jesus, the Palestinian, and that is our speech. Jesus was Palestinian, and from Jesus, the Palestinian, and using the gospel, using the scriptures. And please don't look at me if you're sideways if you're an atheist, because this is important in Latin America. In Latin America, we haven't seen a single demonstration like the ones that are being done or carried out in Europe with hundreds of thousands of people at the streets. We haven't seen that. Why? Well, because the manipulation and deceit through the scriptures, through the gospel, has been a plan of the CIA, and this has been done by those who are interested in genocide and eliminating the Palestinian people. And that is why we need to dare to talk about these issues. We're not afraid. We are not afraid of this issue, because we need to confront them to be able to attack them. So in this sense, we talked about the issue of fascism, and we ended saying that we cannot combat fascism if we are going to allow for Zionism to be alive. Zionism uses fascist practices. Zionism is older than it, and it's the one that finances it. Zionism is behind the corporations that murder the people of Palestine. And if we don't combat Zionism, we're not going to be able to combat fascism. And Palestine is the cause of mankind, because the cause of Palestine is mankind. Because Palestine is not a people struggling against imperialism, capitalism, fascism, and Zionism. Because it's mankind as a whole fighting through Palestine, and that is why Palestine is our cause, the cause of the planet, and we need to insist in this to be a transversal axis that joins us, and so that we move forward in all of our battles and are able to conquer all of them. Long live Free Palestine. Thank you, Indu. And we now would like to call Iraima Morocoima, a descendant of the Guaycaipuro forefather, one of our indigenous forefathers. Well, what an honor to be here. What an honor to be a descendant, female descendant of Guaycaipura, but also of Bolivar, Chavez, and Fidel. And I'm not going to start mentioning or continue mentioning because they are all present here. The only thing is that we don't see them. I thank all of this process that has been going on for the past days that we have experienced, because we have experienced it intensely, each and every one of the speeches that have been given. And we have seen the faces because we came to pay attention, because we have a gigantic task, and that's to defeat capitalism and the empire, because it's enough of us being in a defensive position. We should start attacking them. And they need to understand that the sons of Bolivar, Guaycaipuro, Fidel, and the Che and San Martín, we are not going to allow that they continue exterminating the people. Here we have popular movements. And look at the growth that we have had. I am eternally thankful with all of those who are here, with the people of the continent that is here. This is a people that has supported the Bolivarian Revolution. And if this revolution has been able to stand, it has been thanks to you also. When ALBA was burned, ALBA Movimientos, I remember Sayonara, I remember Miss Elena. Her name is confusing for me sometimes, because they came in the very hard times of 2013, and we were still constructing a revolution with Chavez in a different stage, something that we didn't understand. And I see Miss Elena here, I see Sayonara, and they are the expression of each country, and I see so many people, and we still thank you for still being standing. And it's time to say to Chavez and Fidel that they were not wrong, that this movement is mature, and that we now need to face the battle, and we need to counterattack, and we cannot continue waiting from one training session to another. We have a task, and it's that each country needs to see that whomever attacks Palestine is attacking each and every one of us, and those who attack Venezuela are attacking each and every one of us. And what happens when they attack Cuba? It's the same. How long are we going to wait? This is an issue for all of those who are here and those who are not, because we have a direct connection. Let's go to for the victory. We want to tell them, look, Commander, this is one of our mottos. Look, 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 Commander. the unity of the population that is combative and militant. And if the struggle is dispersed, there won't be a victory like before. Now our struggle is united. We will now see the victory. How long are we going to come give help to each other, like to weep together? No, we now have to attack. And the youngsters who are here, the youth, is the one that needs to move forward. I don't know. I cannot mention all of these wonderful people. I'm just so excited. I feel this so deeply. When you spoke, Rander, I have listened to you and paid so much attention. I was like, why are they not talking about the people's movement? And then I was thinking about it, and I said, oh, well, they're not going to mention it because we are here. We are the ones who are here because this revolution is still standing due to the popular or the people's movement, but it's an autonomous movement. We need to have autonomy. We cannot be followers of what the government says in all the continent. We must be the ones speaking out loud. If they don't like it, then they have to just accept it, because we have the responsibility. I would like to thank you for the responsibility that has been given to us, and I would like to thank you because you also have a responsibility. You need to find the ways for us to counterattack. I don't know how we're going to do, because we need support of the states, and I know that Maduro is going to be there at the spearhead, and we're going to find the support to have the weapons, because we're going to the combat. So long live Fidel, long live Chavez, and we're going to the battle. Thank you, Iraida. We now would like to give the floor to Joel Linares Moreno from the Abya platform, that is going to be sharing the microphone with Peach Ortiz Guairian from the Cumbe movement, and Joel from the Abya platform. Hi, how are you? Do you want to start playing things here? No, right? Well, 500 years ago started a process, a historical process with enslaved people who understood the struggle against an empire, a huge empire. And as the people said here, as a person, an important person said here, Argenis Delgado, they deserve our respect for their struggle of the people. They, with less, did more than us, and they died trying. And I want you to answer, when we see this empire, are we going to surrender? Are we going to surrender, or are we ready for the struggle, for the battle? That's why we're here. I'm going to talk about the Maroons. The Maroons in Venezuela, the Maroons in Cuba, and the Haiti that supported so much our independence, and now we are indebted to them against the fascist empire, because for no reason we can allow them to use their recolonizing project. And as Martí used to say, the best way to say something is to do it. Doing is the best way of saying things. So I want you to appreciate how Venezuela does all the time. This is what my shirt says: 25 years of Bolivarian revolution, 25 years of committees, of struggles, of LGBTQ plus pride, 25 years of Afro-descendant organizations like we have never seen in our history, 25 years of Bolivarian revolution. And I want you to ask me, for 20 years we can say, to hell with the free trade area of the Americas. That is why we need to build the justice that we need. I am so proud to be here because we need to also include linguistic justice. And this is important. If we want to win the war for Haiti, we first have to communicate. There's no other option. We need to understand Creole. We need to understand Voodoo and the Yoruba language and the Patois and all of the languages of the African diaspora that is struggling here. So to conclude, because I want to give also the floor to Joel, and I'm gonna record this. I want all of you, your commitment. I want this to be loud and clear, to be sent to the ALBA IT chapter that wasn't able to be here, to my friends of the ALBA IT chapter. So for Camille, Islanda, all the people who received us in that mission, I want to for you to put your hands together for the Haitian movement. Let us start. You can scream and you can do as much sound as you want. Long live free Haiti. Ali Bobo, Ashe, Amen. And let's move forward. Thank you very much. Long live the free peoples. Well, it's hard to speak after him, right? And there's nothing else to say or do. But I'm here in a predicament. Thank you. Thank you to the ALBA-TCP, the Bolivarian government, and the Simon Bolivar Institute. Because many people ask about the ALBA issue. What is ALBA? They ask about it. And the ALBA is, if not the pioneer, it's the first organization in the world that thought of the incorporation of the people, of the incorporation of the movements, and that was from the very beginning. And sometimes we do not stop to think that one thing is the people at the screen who's presenting the idea or the decree, but we do not think about the architects of said idea. The architect of the ALBA-TCP idea today is working on or is conducting the destinies of the Bolivar Revolution, the destiny of the Bolivar Revolution, and it's Nicolás Maduro Moros. He has been conducting the diplomacy of peace. He was the Minister of Foreign Affairs for President Chavez, and it was Nicolás Maduro Moro. He built, together with President Chavez, not only ALBA-TCP, but CELAC, UNASUR, Petrocarib, and ASA, that joined us with Africa, and he then continued that path. That man, since 14th of April 2013, when we were still mourning, and we were able to continue carrying this Bolivarian process, he hasn't had a single day of rest because it hasn't been allowed for him. And I tell you what Bob Marley said: why should I rest if the evil are thinking about how to do evil every day? How am I going to rest if so much is still to be done? In that sense, I am just going to dedicate my speech to two things. First one, and because I have Aranda here, I would like to tell you that in January this year we started a beautiful process with ALBA-TCP and ALBA movements with the confirmation of the Cultural and Communicational Council of ALBA-TCP. This is an important step, and we have created some elements that are related to the possibility of developing a training program through Venezuelan universities. We have spoken to the deans of several universities, and we want to update the programs, the education programs of higher education, including arts and culture of the South, Latin American culture, Robinsonian studies, that we want to implement for the internationalization and to have those postgraduate degrees available for all Latin American people. There are other things there, that there are other projects that we can talk about later on. But I write better than I speak. Others speak better. I become nervous, so I'd rather read. I'm going to read you something that I wrote. In the year 2013, we were still weeping, mourning, because our commander was in a different space, and I was invited to a mass, an ecumenic mass, because I'm a Protestant, and as Indu said, Zionism are the ones who are financing fascism, and we need to be careful with them. And so I wrote this as part of that mass. I am not going to put the other cheek. This is a poem, and it's for the people. I believe in the Jesus that gave joy to the poor, healing them. I will not put my other cheek, because I will not turn the other cheek, because we have the sweat of the field, and I still hear the cries of the people due to the bullets, because they clipped their wings and then made us vagabonds in our own land, because the struggle still continues, because we shouldn't believe in people who told us that we are right, because we are still weeping those who died with illness. We still need to reach our dreams, because so many were defeated. Dignity is not a decree. In a secret area, the Leviathan is still waiting to give us morphine, because the people out there are saying, do not surrender, because our dead are telling us to keep awake. I still need to write, and we still need to have our guns in our hands, because there are still no flowers in an alkali earth, because the earth is still, because the sadness is still eliminating the smile of a 5-year-old, because there are martyrs, and an old woman is still working, because there's still the conscience of a sword, because the worker holds the load of history, because I cannot say that there's victory if innocents are sleeping at the streets, because people are hungry, and it can't be that coins are more important than joy. We still need to try to find the heaven. We still need to try to fly to the promised land. I will not turn the other cheek. I have a strong conscience. I have a strong conscience, and to fulfill this task and to struggle against the system that humiliates us, I say, thankful, I will not turn the other cheek. This was Joel Linares Moreno by the Abyayala platform and the South Poetic Encounter. We now give the floor to Gaby Barraza. Where's Gaby? So that she can give us a very important announcement. She's from Argentina. She's a militant and a graphic artist. Well, good morning. I speak in representation of audiovisual Común Audiovisual, and as we have been debating in these times, it's important to give the cultural battle. Común Audiovisual is a producer with the objective to tell the story of the peoples, our history. In that task, we are proud to present the documentary that we are going to present in the National Cinemateca. And this has been a work that we have been doing for years. It's our work and also the work of many partners who have been doing history for the creation of a narration about ALBA. And We want this material to not just be a video, but for it to be a tool to continue building the organization, continue building this encounter of the peoples that our spaces have. As Commander Chavez said, the true men and women who are important are not the ones who fight for 1 year, are those who fight our whole life for the same cause with the same strength and who never surrender. So let's continue building this organization to honor our commander, but also to honor our peoples. So I would like to invite you to the Cinemateca on the 28th at 10 a.m. If you're not here, this will be presented at the YouTube channel of ALBA Movimiento, so you will be able to see it online, to watch it online. So put yourselves an alarm so that you're able to see it too, to watch it too. We still have 2 speakers before listening to Rander. So 2 minutes for the Brazilian People's Movement, Giovanni from the PRET, and then Rolando from Panama, who's a very serious man, so that he can conclude. Well, before starting, I would like to thank Blanca Rander and these beloved people here. We are once again here, invited by Venezuela, and we celebrate this union of the peoples, this embrace of the peoples every time that Venezuela invites us, and with this responsibility with so many delegates of 33 countries, not only of our continent, but with this lovely diversity that we have, with such commitment of struggle to continue battling unity and victory. We are resisting in our territories, articulating our resistance, especially denouncing NATO as the most dangerous organization in the world, and obviously this terrorist alliance between Trump and Netanyahu that has promoted war, not only in the Middle East, which would be bad enough, but to mobilize ourselves, but also in our territories. In Brazil, the military police of the governors buys every month with public budget weapons and training from Israel that is used to repress the people's struggles, the people's demonstrations, and to repress the people who are struggling every day. So these attacks directly, this alliance of NATO for more violence in the world, for the promotion of war, this attacks us too in our territories. Here in Venezuela, we are invited for these agendas, and we always come because this is our home. This is the home of ALBA Movimientos, of the International Assembly of the Peoples, and we are proud of being here. We're proud to exchange with the Venezuelan organizations, to learn from this rebellious resistance that every day configurates this socialism of the 21st century. For us, it's an honor and a commitment, Blanca and Rander. Always know that you have this family here who is always going to be standing with you. We are always going to be here. I would like to use this opportunity to strengthen the invitation for the 28th for the documentary that is going to be presented about the story of struggle and resistance from the campaign of the 500 years, which sows a seed of articulation of our organizations against colonialism, imperialism, the struggle of the 90s, and in the 21st century, the confirmation of the ALBA project, ALBA movements, ALBA-TCP, whether it's the governments or the movements, it's a single destiny, the construction of socialism. So we need to celebrate our resistance. So on the 28th, I would like to strengthen this invitation. In August also, we will have the launch of our assembly, Continental Assembly, 4th Continental Assembly in September on the 16th. This is the Solidarity Day with the peoples of Sahel, and this marks also our agenda of struggle and solidarity. And in October, we have our youth brigades and the work with the Che and the work that we're weaving from the territories. And in November, we have the 4th and 5th of Mar del Plata, the celebration of the 20th year of the movement, and we are going to construct our resistance. We also have the COP 30, and in December I also like to invite you, for the people of Venezuela, for the organization that we have called upon, because we're building the People's Council of BRICS, where Venezuela is already part of it. From the peoples, we are together building everything, because Venezuela needs to be a part of this, in this People's Council and also at BRICS. So this is the agenda. Please know that you can count on this international family, this solidarity family. Thank you very much. Thank you, Giovanni. I wanted to mention that we went to Haiti in a solidarity mission, and we have Pichi Ortiz, and at the airport, which is a hub in Tocumen in Panama. There are many international destinations, and Haiti is not there. You have the flight number, the gate number, but it doesn't appear. So just to start, we need to break those silences. And so to visibilize what it's not shown and to listen to what does not have a sound, we have Panama, the representative of Panama. No, I'm not going to do that. Come on. Well, first of all, I would like to reiterate our thankfulness to the Venezuelan people, always heroic. Please put your hands together for the people of Venezuela. They are Bolivarian as always, like us. I would like to remind you of a quote by a Panamanian revolutionary. He said that the peoples of the world that are suffering terror, exploitation, among other things, there's an urgent need, and it's a need that is life or death. In this struggle, there is no path to return. We can only move forward and march forward until the victory. That was said by Floyd Wendell Brito Morrison, a Panamanian revolutionary who left us the legacy for integration, mobilization, and the unity in militant action for the freedom of our peoples. Against imperialism, please count on all our peoples. Know that you have brothers and sisters doing their role with more struggle and more battles, and as they say, as the construction workers say in our country, they are the most repressed union in our country. Let's put our hands together for the Suntrack workers. Unity, firmness, and discipline. And in that motto, we invite the people of our Abya Yala, of our America, to gather in Panama next year, Blanca, as you said, for the bicentennial of the Amphictyonic Panama Congress, because the beast that directs Panama is trying to invite other beasts to diminish the shine of this Congress, of this celebration. And so we want to invite you for the celebration of the Bolivarian thought. I would like to say alert.
The Bolivar's sword is marching across Latin America. Beware. Bolivar's sword is marching throughout Latin America. And imperialists are trembling because Latin America is going to become all socialist. Long live ALBA for all the peoples. Long live ALBA. Thank you, brothers and sisters. And I apologize if I took 2 minutes more of your time. Very well then, before we listen to Randall, we would like to inform you that this afternoon after lunch we are going to have a beautiful encounter between the mothers of the Plaza de Mayo and the mothers and grandmothers of those kidnapped in the concentration camp in El Salvador that are being freed. So, dear comrade Randall, you have the floor. Yes, it's going to be here. That meeting is going to be here, this same space. Dear comrades, good afternoon to you all. Once again, welcome to the Yellow House, where we are very happy to have this exchange and to define the concrete political agendas regarding our movements and grassroots forces of our Latin America. I have taken notes of everything that's been said. I think all statements were very important, but there is one element that is very important indeed. It is instrumental for us to outline what we need to do. The definition of politics can vary according to the authors and according to the scope of politics. And the theory says that this is not naive, it's intentional. The theory is there to satisfy the intention of its creator. This is the reason why I have the theory of domination and the theory of liberation. And the concept of a theory, we can also embrace what's possible to do, the art of the possibilities, politics as an art of the possibility, in order to start standardizing politics, because there is a frontier between what's possible and what's not. If politics is the art of what is possible, there is nothing impossible for politics. But here, Dussel also mentions the scope of politics. And I say this, dear brothers and sisters, because what differentiates us from the enemy and our adversaries in politics is that for the adversary in politics and the enemy, for them, there are no frontiers, there are no borders to do whatever they do, including to instill pain in others. For them, nothing is impossible. For us, if there is nothing impossible for us, we need to standardize our political participation and do so. And I am sorry if I'm telling you about theory. I would like to apologize for this, and we will go to the practical part soon. Dussel, to clarify his explanation, gives an example, and he gives the example of boxing and the example of a political party, the party of Vasquez. Oh, a basketball match, sorry. So in the basketball match, there are certain rules. But if the player of basketball wants to use the same elements that are used in boxing, which is to punch the other until to annihilate
him, well, he will go against the basketball's rules. So this is not allowed. It is not the right thing to do. So, dear brothers and sisters, if there is a political reflection that we need to do, is that we need to have principles and standards that should govern political parties, which prevents the enemy to which prevents us from doing whatever the enemy does, because the enemy is there to to subvert the scope of politics. They can lead us to internal debates that will lead us to do whatever it takes to prevent them to do whatever they want to do, and we will do whatever it takes. They will do whatever it takes as well, so the victims will be, in the end, our peoples and humanity. ALBA movements, or ALBA for short, the Bolivarian idea. We have to acknowledge that this is a very noble action. And if you have to undertake this noble action, is to take the ALBA standards to politics as well. If we are integrated within ALBA movements, the main political principle in our actions needs to be embodied in the Bolivarian idea. And even though we have many definitions of Bolivar and his political scope, he said it very clearly. There are three elements that we need to distinguish within his thinking. Number one, Bolivar told us about the balance of the universe, which is nothing else but the construction or the idea of a multipolar and pluricentric world. Now we need to understand how we can cooperate within ALBA movement to make this idea a reality. And what they wanted to do with us, they wanted to impose a different reality on us. They wanted to tell us that international system is made up by the group of unities that are embodied in states, and within the states there are other configurations. In other words, the peoples were not taken into consideration as an important factor in order to understand international systems. Movements and political parties did not exist. Internal pressure groups did not exist. And they did not exist because it was not convenient to the dominant thinking. They did not want to have these pressure groups that could instill changes. But the ones who propose this theory say that even though the strong units are states, to dominate the state is the ultimate goal of all politics. And even though it is true that undoubtedly states are very important elements, they are not more important than social movements, which is the spirit and soul of the territory or of a nation. To strengthen, dear brothers and sisters, ALBA is to strengthen the political equation of new organization, popular organization. The organization, popular organization. And dear comrades, I say this because for states and countries, this popular movement has become one and only. There is not a government and a movement, no, because then we will be separating what we really are. What Venezuela represents, Nicaragua, Cuba, they represent popular power that seized political power, and it is not us and they, it is all of us. We want to achieve with inspiration organization led by our leaders, Castro, Raúl Castro rules, Hugo Chavez, Commander Daniel, and Rosario. We need to seize the political power in each one of our countries. This is what they did. But where did they come from? They came from the popular movement. And what's the cradle? The cradle is the political party, the streets, the territory. And dear brothers and sisters, the inspiration of these leaders that are all Bolivarians the inspiration that we can draw from them when with their actions when they were building that multipolar world. Well, this is what we need to inspire ourselves on. And dear brothers and sisters, when we commemorate a date like today, the day of the national rebellion in Cuba, it is not by coincidence that we are gathering here. It was intentional because ALBA movement wanted to commemorate, wanted to celebrate a day like this, which is the day of all of us. And it is the day of all of us because what happens in Cuba is also happening with us. What we see in Cuba inspires Latin America because that was the sparkle that started everything in Latin America. What happened on July the 26th when the Moncada barracks were seized, and that courageous strength of Fidel Castro, Raúl Castro, and all the young back then, they started it all. So I just wanted to tell you, dear brothers and sisters, and I apologize, because the theoretical appreciation that sometimes is not applicable in certain occasions, I think that today is very relevant and it applies. Why? Because, dear brothers and sisters, and in a summary, if the politics is the art of what is possible, but we need to know what we cannot do in order to make the political idea a reality, we also need to understand that the enemy is ready to do whatever it takes to get access to politics. So we need to understand what they can do, what they are capable of doing, what we cannot do. And not because we cannot, but we must not do it. Because if we do what we can without or regardless of consequences, we'll be just like them. And we are not like the fascist right wing of Latin America, but we know what they are. So we know to circle them, to stop them from moving forward. There is one quote, dear brothers and sisters, that I would like to share with all of you, because I speak a lot about halting the passage of the enemy. And I would say that the origin of this is the warrior oracle. Blanca, do you remember when Commander Chavez, when he was talking to the members of the National Assembly back then, he was on stage and he said in his address, whatever happens, we will prevail. And whatever happens, we will prevail. Brought along Luciana, and please look for the warrior's oracle and the warrior, the way the warrior hinders the passage of the enemy, because I'd like to share with all of them this idea, because I think this is a contribution we can make from ALBA movements. And he used to say, whatever happens, we will prevail. And he was referring to something that happened before. And that very quotation, Blanca, was about giving it all in the convent. Because this is what he implied. Whatever happens, we will prevail because we are ready to give it all. It's not that it's going to be given to us by God. It is not because the stars are going to be aligned, that we're going to be lucky, and that what we dream about is going to happen. No. Because all of us revolutionaries, we have to do everything it takes. We have to do the hard work. It is much more complex. And we have to make things happen as the way we want them to happen. We need to give it all in the political realm. It is only by doing this that we will achieve our goal. And giving it all implies many other things as well. For instance, the struggle, and I don't remember who said this, but quoting Brecht, when he said that those who struggle all their lives are indispensable. Yes, that's true. Did you find it? Okay, listen, hand it over, and be ready, be ready.
And that also means that political struggle of those of us who have opted for the political struggle as a way of living our life, as yes, our way of life, this implies that our life does not belong to us. We are giving our life to someone else. And what we give to others makes it that our priorities are not our priorities, but collective priorities. And for us, the struggle is just not something that happened by coincidence or whenever we get to see each other, but it is a permanent struggle. So when we leave this place, dear brothers and sisters, maybe you can switch your mind and say, well, now I'm going to take up all my personal projects. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to visit my family because family is also important, and that's all right. But all the plans that we have agreed upon, and I say this, and maybe all the plans that we have agreed upon, we just talk about them every fortnight or in the next summit, or in the meantime I don't do anything or I don't do enough. Well, some of us, brothers and sisters, and we understood this with Hugo Chavez. You remember Blanca and Giovanni? Some of us have to give all our lives so that the rest of humanity can be truly happy. And in that exercise of giving our lives for the political project, we can make mistakes. We can leave aside many things. We can, work on other things. We can make mistakes, right? But if there is something we cannot allow, because of course, we can make mistakes, but we cannot allow us to do is to surrender our commitment. We cannot surrender in the political struggle. We have to continue because together we are like a very strong wall that is going to crush against us so that they cannot exterminate our peoples. And what we do is instrumental, not to only be that wall, strong wall, but as you said, Iraida, to go into the offensive, the political offensive, because it is good to have, to be resistant, to be resisting there, because we're going to prevent the enemy from going through. But I need to continue advancing, right? I need to take to the offensive. And I'm quoting chapter 12 of the Warrior's Oracle. There are many chapters. I don't remember if there are 37 or 36, but more or less 36, 37 chapters. But if you search in Google the oracles of the warrior, on the warrior's oracle, you can find it out. And you need to look for it, because when Chavez told us whatever happens, we will prevail, the victory will be ours. This was not just an optimistic Chavez saying that whatever happens, we will win. Because, you cannot interpret it that way. No, he was being very realistic because of what he read in the oracles. And in chapter number 12, he said, it is enough. You have waited for a long time. You have refrained yourself from taking action, waiting for things to settle. But, they have not. So you need to take action. That person has advanced more than they should. They have trampled all the possibilities. You have a cry, but they don't feel any kind of remorse. So you have to put an end to the situation because you are the strongest one now. So you have to stop them from coming through. If you do not do this, innocent people are going to pay for the horrible despotism of this evil person. If your spear is not enough, use your other weapons. And if you do not you cannot do enough. Do more, do more. Use your sword and be ready to lose everything in this combat. If you do this, you will always prevail. You will always beat your enemy.
If you do what needs to be done. So I believe that, brothers and sisters, that this is the political mission of ALBA movement. ALBA movement has a programmatic function that has already been explained. Now let's go to the practical form. You know very well what you need to do. You know that we have a political objective, which is to strengthen our leaders. It is impossible to strengthen ALBA movements if the leaders of ALBA movements are not strengthened, because for us, the strengthening has to be both theoretical and practical. And each one of us need to understand that we cannot be victorious in politics if we are not efficient. Like sportsmen, when a sportsman wants to win a medal, they need they need a routine, they need to exercise, they need to eat well, etc., etc. But what happens with the high-performing politician? What do they need to do? Well, we have an obligation. We need to read more than the others. We need to lead. We need to impose on ourselves this reading regime, spiritual and academic readings. We also have the obligation of surviving, enduring in time. If I don't eat well, if I don't exercise, I will die in a couple of years, and all the struggle that we have been carrying forward is going to be affected because one leader left us too soon. So we are compelled to live a long life, to endure. This is part of our political commitment. So this is why we have a training program in order to train comprehensive politicians, the scientific politician. We need to do this because the only way in which we can convince the other is by using the proper tools of persuasion, and it's not only based on rational criteria but emotional criteria. I wouldn't be able to convince someone else to join us if we cannot explain them why. The fact that you believe that what you're doing is right does not mean, or is not going to give you all the tools to go to the communities, to the neighborhoods, to the streets, and to convince others just because you believe in this idea. Because the other person can tell you, okay, but wait a minute, why do I need to follow you? Why don't you follow me? Why don't you join us? Well, I don't know, I don't remember who said this, but someone said it. We are bringing along some kind of gene of, arrogance, because we speak to others like, you have to join me. And we have to be careful with this. It was you, Hindu, who said it. Huh? The unity is not you are going to join me, because this is, kind of arrogant, because sometimes we speak to others, calling on them, making a call for them to join us. So I say, okay, come on, you have to join us. And then I decide that we're going to have a meeting at 6 p.m. in a neighborhood. Right? So I made this call. 100 people are expected, but only 80 showed up. And then we see that, there were people missing there. And then what we say is, okay, why didn't he come? We were expecting this guy to come and he didn't show up. So they are not doing what we want them to do. And we have this very arrogant attitude. And we say, okay, hey, they didn't come to us, but we do not go to them to see what happened. Instead of saying, okay, wait, brother and sister, wait, are you okay? Why didn't you show up?
Because probably that partner wasn't at the assembly. Because his son or daughter was ill, or they didn't have the food for the afternoon, or had a family situation that didn't allow him to go. And sometimes, my dear friends, my dear partners, We only organize the struggle with those who can go, when the struggle needs to be organized with those who could go and the ones who couldn't. And ALBA movements, my dear friends, has this mission. The mission of going to the place where those who couldn't be present are. And if that person, and allow me this analogy, if that person couldn't assist to the courtyard, let the next assembly be at his or her house. And that way we will conquer little by little till we are able to be a true organic movement, solid, strong movement. If we can manage, because movements are territorial, and it's at the streets, it's at the community, it's right there. And if we have the condition of understanding the current times, if we can understand the political power, like for example the mayor's office, well then let us organize the struggle to have specific spaces. How can we reconquer the political power in Argentina, for example? This is something that needs to be discussed here, and we talked about that yesterday. Sometimes, and I say this clearly, sometimes we romanticize things, and what we need to think is what we're going to do. How can we reconnect? Because if we lost Argentina, it's because of a specific reason. Did we lose Argentina because we stopped talking to the people who were with us? Did we lose Argentina because we allowed to we built a monster and then we weren't able to control it? Did we lose Argentina because the internal divisions affected us so much that we were not able to reorganize ourselves and regenerate trust among each other? Or maybe all of the above. But what I need to think is what I have to do now to recover that power, and that needs to be discussed, and that is an agenda. And I do believe in conspiracy, because they need to know that we are working. As the TikTok said, are you afraid? They are afraid of this. They are completely afraid, but let them tremble in fear, because we are going after them. That's the truth. For a simple reason, it's not a revenge. It's because it's either them or us. It's a sum-zero game. And it's either mankind or the interest of the empire who wants to control as much territory to satisfy their wishes. And we, of course, bet on mankind. So we need to strengthen with emotional ideas, and you need to enamor the human and give him or her reasons to stay in that loving relationship. So you need to give him reason and emotion. You may have the reason, but if you do not inspire the other one to come with you, to stay with you, then it doesn't work either. So I need to tell you, the anti-imperialist struggle is the right path, and they're going to ask why. Well, I need to tell you, I need to explain them. I need to tell them, well, fascism goes against mankind. Yes, okay, but enamor me, give me, make me feel it. That's what people need. When you go see a movie or watch a movie with someone, it's a good idea. But the person will not go with you if you haven't convinced them to go watch that movie with you. It's not just saying, well, objectively it can be fun to, because then we are too cold when we are relating to the other person. This battle, which is not going to be won today, and it's not going to be lost today, but it's going to be waged today, we will continue our whole life, the political battle. And what we see is the specific moment in which we take this political battle, when we give the power to the next generation so that they continue it. And in that sense, I took the power at some point of the struggle, and I will give it at some point, and that will make me rest at ease when I am no longer able to do it or not longer here. And Commander Chavez used to say that the one who works every day, and President Maduro used to say also that let it not be for us like this. I work every day, and it's the analogy of pushing against the wall. You know, I'm working every day, pushing against the wall, pushing against the wall. What did you do? No, I was since 8 a.m. pushing a wall till 8 p.m. Oh, awesome. And next day I was from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. pushing that wall. And the third day he was same hours pushing the wall. And he said, well, did you move the wall? No, I didn't. But I was doing my task. Let us not be the person who is every day pushing that wall without moving it. We need to move it. We need to push it. And if we cannot, two can. If two can, then three can. But we cannot be the one who is just struggling and not doing anything. Because our whole life can pass by while nothing happens. And those are concrete objectives. We have here lots of people from Argentina, right? Those are concrete objectives. This municipality, you need to think in these terms. How are we going to win this municipality? How are we going to win that specific area? Because it's territorial, isn't it? Territorial issue, because you need to turn your work irreversible. Once you reach the point of irreversibility, when it can no longer go to the right wing, then you have reached the political objective, and you can define other objectives. But that's the ABC, it's not the conclusion. You need to take the political power, and what do you do in the meantime? How do you recover that political power? You need training, you need mobilization. Who are you going to mobilize? Who is the person who's going to mobilize others? Who's the one who's going to do the training? How can we help this person objectively and subjectively? It's there. That needs to be done. And I believe, my dear friends, that ALBA Movimientos and ALBA, the Bolivarian idea, has all the conditions to manage it. That's the balance of the universe. And the second, my dear friends, is our American Union. And this Latin American Union, at some point in the political battle between two antagonic models, Marlboroism and Bolivarianism, they wage a war that is still ongoing. And that battle, 200 years ago, had the concrete purpose of either uniting us territorially or geographically, or we disintegrate. And they managed a partial battle when they were able to gather 30 countries, so that divided we would be concerned about the things that divide us instead of the things that unite us. And that was a battle that was waged, and it's not the whole war. The thing is that we now need to continue working in that, our American unity. And there's something above all the territorial divisions, and it's the unity or the union of the peoples. And what we can do to strengthen, to weave that unity. And ALBA movimientos or ALBA movements need to be participating and calling upon other movements and participating together with organizations and the social movements and start weaving, piece by piece. Because nationally, there's a lot of people who are there. They have their movements, they have their political parties, they are there. And they see in ALBA movements a political space, a strong political space, and it is undoubtedly so. But from principle number 1, or based on principle number 1, we need to see how we activate and we organize the political action with each and every one of them. If in Brazil we have several organizations, in Ecuador, in Peru, Bolivia, we have several organizations, how do we generate at least a space for the creation of trust among ourselves? Because then otherwise we apply the Shelley theory. Uncertainty is the most common human problem. This applies from international relations to human relations. In international relations, it applies because if I don't know what the other one is doing, I believe he's conspiring against me or plotting against me. I attack you because you're going to attack me, and I attack you because I believe you're going to attack me. And if before you attack me, because you believe that I'm going to attack you, attack me. That is the Shelley paradox. It's based completely in uncertainty, but in human relations happens the same. I'm calling her or him and he doesn't answer. What's he doing? Why isn't he answering? And the first step is to talk to the other one. And sometimes we are so full with our own agenda that we hinder ourselves to speak with the other one. And of course there is an agenda. We have an agenda, but let it be our agenda. And that way we can build trust. I know Hindu and I know what she's doing, but what I mean is for everyone. This should be the same thing. What happens in Argentina? You know how many organizations? How many, my brother? And they all have rights. They're all right. And if you say, your struggle is mine, and many times we don't find the time or don't make the time to have a concrete action plan together, because maybe it's easier to speak with the one you already communicate all the time. It's easy to talk to Blanca than to start building trust with someone I don't know, but that's a mistake. I have to talk to that guy, the guy that's complicated, the other one. So I need to step out of my comfort zone, my political comfort zone, because that's the political mission. That needs to be the political mission, to step out of your comfort zone and go a little bit beyond. And the third element is that Bolivar, my dear friends, insisted in achieving the highest amount of happiness, both politically and in other areas. And what is happiness? How do I make you happy, Blanca? How do I make you happy, my dear friend here? How do we achieve happiness? How can we give others reasons to smile? To coordinate ideas, to make them become true. This needs to be discussed. That is so abstract it is both abstract and specific. Happiness is abstract, but the other person having reasons to smile, it could be specific. And ALBA movements need to be married with that vision, with the territorial vision, to have someone else having the reason to smile, to be happy. And for him to say, ALBA-TCP and our peoples, we need to say, our peoples need to have reasons to defend being part of ALBA movements or ALBA-TCP. For them to say, I want my government to be part of ALBA-TCP because this makes me happy in the reality. I want to be part of ALBA movements because their actions make me truly happy, or happy in the reality. And so that way we're going to manage to find more people who are included in our political cause. My dear friends, I believe that we are in the specific point of no return. Either we do or we don't. If we do, the following generations will thank us for it. If not, something worse can happen. Maybe the next generations could condemn us for not doing anything, or for not doing enough, or for standing with our arms crossed. Or maybe those future generations will not be able to condemn anything because there won't be mankind. So Our duty, my dear brothers and sisters, is for mankind, for the existence of mankind itself, and to take away from our path everything that that harms it. It's the duty of ALBA movements. I would like to convey you the commitment of President Nicolás Maduro with each and every one of the political actions, of the ideas, of the agreements, of the advancements that ALBA movements has. The absolute commitment, full commitment of the PSUV and the Bolivarian Revolution, because if we're here, my dear Giovanni, it's because we believe in what we're doing. Because what has been done in ALBA movement since 2013, when it began, till now, has been an extraordinary path that has been truly successful and truly effective, and we know which are the next steps to be taken. Please count on the Bolivarian count with the Bolivarian homeland, the cradle of Commander Hugo Chavez and Bolivar, for the purposes of ALBA, which are the purposes of our peoples, our leaders, and our governments. Long live the Bolivarian Alliance for Peoples of our America. Long live the social movements of the region. Rander, Blanca, in our process of construction of the assembly, we are still designing our image for the assembly. But thinking about symbols, we were thinking about the symbol of Fidel, the 100th anniversary of his birth date, and that the fact that we're going to work with him as an example. And one of his symbols is the beret, the olive green beret. And we would like to invite you to the assembly, and as is always said in Cuba, you with us, we are all together, Fidel. Long live ALBA, long live the unity of the peoples, long live Chavez, long live Fidel. Thank you to all these people, lovely people here. We have had a great meeting, a lovely encounter between ALBA movements, ALBA-TCP. This path is protected and consolidated. Long live Chavez, Fidel, the homeland, commune or nothing. Now, we're going to have a press conference with the media outlets of ALBA movements, and after lunch, we will have the encounter with the mothers of Plaza de Mayo and the mothers and grandmothers of those people who were kidnapped in El Salvador. And then, of course, the picture. Let's make the group picture, the ALBA group picture.
Por el sol y la brisa que nos trae el perfume que da el semerucal. Mi pueblo cada día tiene mucho que dar. Mi pueblo cada día tiene mucho que dar. seco, si lo pisa por un lado, por el otro se levanta, por algo tiene la piel florecida de esperanza. Ala, 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 que la soga se revienta, ay, 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 se revienta, se revienta, se revienta. El pueblo no tiene culpa si lo engañan una vez. Dicen que el matacán muere mansinto en verano, cuando el agua se hace poca y queda el cerro pelado. Cuando el agua se hace poca y queda el cerro pelado. Ay, 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 pelado, ay, 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 pelado, ay, 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 pelado. Si le quitan el veneno al cascabel, aunque suene la maraca, deja de ser cascabel. Ala, 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 que la soga se revienta, ay, 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 se revienta, se revienta, se revienta. Si le quitan el veneno al cascabel, aunque suene la maraca, deja de ser cascabel. Ala, 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 que la soga se revienta, ay, 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 se revienta, se revienta, se revienta, se revienta. Los que mueren por la vida no pueden llamarse muertos. Y a partir de este momento es prohibido llorarlos. Que se callen los redobles en todos los campanarios. Vamos, cumpa, carajo, que para amanecer no hacen falta gallinas, sino cantar de gallos. Ellos no serán bandera para abrazarnos con ella, y el que no la pueda alzar, que abandone la pelea. No es tiempo de recular, ni de vivir de leyendas. Canta, canta, compañero, que tu voz sea disparo, que con las manos del pueblo no habrá canto desarmado. Canta, canta, compañero, canta, canta, compañero, canta, canta, compañero, que no calle tu canción. Si te falta bastimento, tienes ese corazón que tiene latir de bombo, color de vino ancestral. Viene tu cueca de lucha cabalgando un viento austral. Canta, canta, compañero, canta, canta, compañero. Canta, canta, compañero, que tu voz sea disparo, que con las manos del pueblo no habrá canto desarmado. Canta, canta, compañero, canta, canta, compañero, canta, canta, compañero, que no calle tu canción. Si te falta bastimento, tienes ese corazón que tiene latir de bombo, color de vino ancestral. Viene Viene tu cueca de luña jineteando un viento austral. Canta, canta, compañero, canta, canta, compañero. Los que mueren por la vida no pueden llamarse muertos. Canta, canta, compañero, canta, canta, compañero. Canta, canta, compañero, que no calle tu canción. Si te falta bastimento, tienes ese corazón. Canta, canta, compañero, canta, canta, compañero, canta, canta, compañero, que no calle tu canción. Mira qué linda la vereda, las lluvias de primavera le embellecieron la piel. Ese camino balto cuyo ya se escuchan los tambores, el tamunangue otra vez. Dale cruzado, crúzalo, pisa el 100 pies, linda la rosa, rózalo, pa' ver quién es. Dale cruzado, crúzalo, pisa el 100 pies, linda la rosa, rózalo, pa' ver quién es. Vivan Tocuyo, tus muchachas y tu música borracha, de caña clara y tambor. Canta una salve a San Antonio, que esa negra es el demonio, con crineja y camisón. Canta una salve a San Antonio, que esa negra es el demonio, con crineja y camisón. Papagayo, gallo, cantor, pajarito, pájaro y flor, que se eleva al cielo y canta, cardenal y cunde amor. Papagayo, gallo, cantor, pajarito, pájaro y flor, que no muera la esperanza, ni el combate ni el amor. Sabe sabrosa la fruta desgajada en su dulzor. Hay bandera quien pudiera llenarte de más sabor. De la tierra el terremoto y del viento el huracán. La arepa de maíz jojoto es de los dioses el pan. Sandera, ay, ay, quien te viera con tu botella. Te canto mamá pancha, comadrona y rezandera, ay, ay, quien te viera con tu botella. Dicen que el Padre Nuestro que rezabas por tu campo, me lo llevas en los labios, tu campo nada ha cambiado. Ay, qué miseria, en tu tierra un día, ¿quién lo dijera? Mi mamá Panchia. Ay, qué miseria, en tu tierra un día, ¿quién lo dijera? Mamá Panchia. A tu campo, mamá Panchia, no lo visita el doctor, viene a la capilla el cura cada finales de mes, pero se fue tu en ti creo. Cuando el tío Juan se te fue. Dicen que el Padre Nuestro que rezabas por tu campo, te lo llevas en los labios. Tu campo nada ha cambiado, ay, qué miseria, en tu tierra un día, ¿quién lo dijera? Mi mamá Panchia. Ay, qué miseria, en tu tierra un día, ¿quién lo dijera? Mi mamá Panchia. Sol en la quebra, a comer la mazamorra, la corrita hay que ordeñar. Corral, 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 ya no hay sol en la quebra, a comer la mazamorra, la corrita hay que ordeñar. Contando moríos en las cuentas del rosario, pero a mundo mamá Pancha, ay, qué rosario tan largo, pero a mundo mamá Pancha, ay, qué largo es tu rosario. Ramón sabía donde había leña seca, porque la verde echa humo y te va dejando ciega. Corral, 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 ya no hay sol en la quebra, a comer la mazamorra, la corrita hay que ordeñar. Corral, corral, correcto, corral, oh, 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 oh. Corral, corral, correcto, corral, 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 corral. solo se mojaron y en la orilla están secándose al sol, pronto sonarán. Siento un gran dolor en el costillar, se afloja el tambor y es por la humedad. Fuego con llanto es vapor, vapor con viento no es nada, se va. Como lluvia volverá para comenzar la siembra. Muchacho, pásame los fósforos que esa madera va a arder. Muchacho, pásame los fósforos que esa candela va a arder. Ese fuego alumbrará el camino pa' donde habrá que coger. Pa' donde va a ser cantar y cantar hasta que la vida se vuelva un cantar y nuestro combate una sola canción, porque esa madera no sirve pa' guacal, porque esa madera es puro corazón, porque esa madera es puro corazón, porque esa madera no sirve pa' guacal. Madera olorosa a jazmín café, madera preciosa, preciosa madera, madera esperanza, madera canción. Haremos una mano con esa madera para golpear bien fuerte a quien desde siempre golpea y golpea, nos golpea. Solo se mojaron, vuelven a sonar. Muchachos tambor, manos quitlas, solo se mojaron, vuelven a sonar.